Welcome to the Joy of Connecting, where modern professionals share stories of meaningful connection and how it increases business success, unlocks career growth, and creates personal happiness. The show is powered by Matcha, software for communities, groups, and teams that thrive on connection. Here we are back in the Joy of Connecting. I'm your host, Melissa, and I'm here today with Kaivona Parker. She is the Unboring Sales Specialist. And when I say unboring, I mean it. Our first call together was almost an hour, and we did not lack for a single topic or have a single moment of awkwardness. I'm thrilled to introduce her to you. Kaivona, would you tell us, what do you do for a living and who are you passionate about helping?
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm like grinning from ear to ear. I'm so excited to chat with you. In short, I help to build and scale sales teams. I'm known, as you said, as the unboring sales specialist. And my focus specifically is on onboarding, training, and enablement. And who I'm passionate about serving, I would say underserved communities. But for me, that's defined as people of color, women, parents or caregivers, socioeconomically disadvantaged, or like educationally or economically disenfranchised, I would say, because the enablement and training space doesn't always get the best attention from the corporate side. So I'm very strategic in how I position myself in the industry. My aim is always to serve the community from both angles. So from the top, I will say, like, I work with the executive level corporations to help them identify their biases in their onboarding and training, which then allows the people in the community that I serve to have space to like grow and develop effectively. And then on the other side, I also work with these individuals one-on-one or sometimes on a cohort basis to give them the tools that they need to have long, successful careers. And a lot of them are transitioning from one industry into tech sales, and then they're just not provided the tools that they need to be successful.
And I love the tools that they need because that's where a lot of our previous conversation centered was on one of the tools is the network. It is finding the people that they should talk to, the folks that they should learn from. I remember when we first chatted, you very readily had a list of about 5 people that I should go chat with, and they were incredible, right? Helping folks build those connections
Yeah.
is a really great part of what you've done. Also just a wonderful mission. I think there's such a difference between what we do and who we're passionate about helping. So I love hearing your focus in that area.
Mm.
You're here today to tell us a little bit about a story when connection played a role. Connection helped either you or someone you know find that business growth or develop their career in the right direction, or maybe just find personal happiness. Would you please share your story of connection with us?
Absolutely. I'm really excited because the person that I connected with actually tackles all of the buckets on success, business success, career growth, and personal moment of joy. And it happened really inadvertently. I was a HubSpot online networking event, and there were breakout rooms, and I entered this breakout room, and this one gentleman, his name is Francis Arimo, he was talking about sales, and I just felt like he was the male version of me. It was just everything that he said. I said, yo, that's my guy. We need to talk. Before the session was even over, I had found him on LinkedIn. I shot him a message, and I'm pretty sure I pretty much said, you are me. We need to talk. Like, thoroughly enjoying seeing you in the HubSpot session. Here's my link. Like, would love to connect with you. And similarly to our conversation, we went on from a 30-minute booked time to like 2.5 hours. Yeah, we were just
Yep.
lit up. And it led to, I mean, he was telling me things about how I was pricing and what I was doing in my business. And he had just started or was in transition to starting his own business. I was telling him some of my insight. So that business success, career growth. And it had been months. We had never seen each other in person. We were always having these virtual chats. And he connected me to someone who then invited me to speak at their conference in Florida, Black Men in Tech, with Cam Ward. And he was there. And if anyone follows me on social media, when I saw him for the first time, I screamed in the hallway because I felt like I was meeting a brother, that we had known each other for years, but only been a few months. And that moment of meeting and all 3 of us took a picture together. so much joy. It was like, it's one of those perfect stories, right? Like, goes from
Yeah.
online to in person.
Oh, the moment of and people can call us dorks, they can call us whatever they want, but meeting your online, like, LinkedIn friends IRL is so much fun. I just had that at the recent, GTM conference. There were about 3 people that I felt I already knew completely. And then, "Oh, hey, it's good to actually see your face."
Well, it's fun.
That is a really special story, and I think one thing you mentioned was, "This is me," or a lot of people say, like, "I found my people," right? All of a sudden, you have these conversations, and they're so easy, and they flow. What is that one do you have that one question that you sometimes ask that really opens up a discussion? When you're meeting with someone and you ask that question, it can really lead to excellent conversation. Do you have one that you wanna share with us?
Yeah. I would say, from a networking side, my most recent question, it's also on my Calendly link, is either to define what unboring is, or like when you hear unboring, what does it mean to you?
Sure.
Because I have the specific definition for what it means to me, but I always want to know, what's that initial effect, or what does it lead your brain to go to when you hear unboring and how it impacts your life? So, love getting the perspective of where folks take unboring for them before I share what's unboring to me.
So good. I think even just picking a word that matters and defining it is a really great question because the definitions that people have can be so broad or so personal. That's
Absolutely.
excellent. Really cool one. Okay. Now, a lot of times, as you mentioned, connection comes through the people you know, right? It's in different cohorts or different programs or different trainings. What is one community that you consider yourself a part of that you think does a really good job of connection, of bringing people together and building those networks?
It's interesting because the same way that I can't tell you how many times a day I open up my phone and look up words in the dictionary, because I think words are so powerful. And I believe that we adapt words, or we redefine word based off of social
Uh,
media, and we don't even realize what the root of the word is. So now I go
uh,
on that tangent because I'm thinking about the word community. What does that mean to
It's very loaded. Yeah, it could be our neighborhood, it could be our church, it could be our paid tech community that we belong to in
people?
Slack. There's such definition. Yes, tell me, what do you
So
think?
my immediate thought, and I'll just go on for what my initial thoughts are, feelings are, would be like the sisterhood that I have around my faith. And
Yes.
it is fairly new. So I want to
Mhm.
say a year and change. And it's just so deep, and it's so rich, and it is
Yeah.
so vulnerable and like open, where we're all really transparent about where we are in life,
Yeah.
and
Mm.
push each other to places that where we see each other. And it's always interesting to hear how other people view you in a positive sense, and even in some experiences where it's not so nice.
Mhm.
And like, yeah, we pray together. A lot of them are married, and I long to be married. I want to find my husband as well. So having them pour into me and telling some of their stories and their experiences, the best way to learn is through people who are actually going through the same thing that you want to be going through. So that,
Right.
I feel, is the most meaningful community for me in the stage of my life right now. And I anticipate probably for the rest of my life, because we're always going to grow, and we want people to cover us and just join in acceptance of where we're going and where we are.
That's beautiful, and I think that's exactly what this show is for, is not for, "Let's talk tech, let's talk work all the time," but talking about what does community look like and what does connection look like? Those are massively complex terms,
Yeah.
and I love how vulnerability and acceptance are really what come to mind when you think of the power of a community. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Thanks.
So as you're going through your day and you're making these connections and you're building your own network, you've seen a lot, you've done a lot, you've built a business. What's one piece of advice that you'd have for someone earlier on in their career as they think to build their network?
I would say, and this is coming from personal experience, begin to network while you're full,
Mm.
extra self aware of networking while you're hungry.
Mm.
So that term, like, you shouldn't go grocery shopping when you're hungry, because you put everything in the cart and like, right, and you spend money, you waste money. You probably don't even like that dessert, but you just want chocolate in that moment. I believe the same thing applies with networking. if you are satisfied in your role, if you are not looking for a job, if you're not necessarily like dependent on a community, you're more likely to be genuinely curious and ask questions and not pitch yourself from a selling point, but just share who you are and what you're interested in. And those connections are genuine relationship building. When you need something, as genuine as you may want to be, you have to be really self-aware as to how you come across because you know you want something at the end of it. So for
Right.
me, I always am really upfront about it and build connection after. But I say like, hey, I saw this. I think I can help here or you can help me here. But I do want to get to know you as well, right? It's like a catch-22 of balance. But I believe if I had started to network while I was like good top of my, game in corporate before I started my own business, my network would have been way larger than it is right
Mhm.
now. But again,
Mm.
thankfully, because I am just like a genuinely curious person and I do really love to build relationships, it's a little bit easier or just more genuine for me. But for folks
Mhm.
who are, that's not their bag and they're not good at networking, you'll have a much easier time doing it when you don't need it for anything.
Perfectly said. I've heard so many times, you know, build it when you don't need it. But that full and hungry metaphor is definitely one that will stick in my brain.
Yeah.
I love it. Tell me one person that comes to mind when you also think of someone who connects like a pro. And again, doesn't need to be just work period, like someone who really knows how to connect. It builds meaningful relationships. Who inspires or are you impressed by?
Easy, easy, easy. His name is Ty Smith. If you
Okay.
don't know who Ty Smith is, he's someone that you want to get to know. He is known for his strategic partnerships in his career, and it just kind of happens to be what he does also, like on a networking side. But I call him the ultimate connector. He pitches
Hmm.
me better than I pitch me. Like I would trust him to go into a room and like speak who Kaivona Parker is much better than me. And he has an arsenal of just like people. When you tell him who you are, he's like, talk to this person, talk to that person. And he's the ultimate connector, builder of relationships. Him and his wife, Ayana, both just like beautiful, intelligent, thoughtful, successful, amazing people that, yeah, you should connect with. They're awesome.
He sounds like a pro. You know, it's just amazing when people like that are naturally in partnerships for their business. It makes a lot of sense. Well, thank you so much. We designed these to be short. You know, I could keep you here all day, but I won't. Kay's got important things to do with the rest of her day. So thanks so much for coming and sharing your stories of connection.
Absolutely, absolutely. My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed the episode, please leave a review to help us reach more listeners. Have a story of your own to share? Visit www.joyofconnect.ing. And do you know a community or group that wants to connect their members better? Check out what we're brewing up at www.matcha.so. Until next time, keep connecting with others like a pro. You never know where it might lead.